Coming up on First News at 5, it could be a matter of life and death as the state faces a shortage of a life-saving antidote. Plus, the health and wealth of the banks of North Dakota. But first,
it is nice with the mess that they have in there, and I know it's not going to be livable for anybody else ever again.
The claws are out over the fate of a condemned house with dozens of cats.
Good evening, I'm Molly Martinez. 40 cats and 2 dogs. That's what the Morton County Sheriff's Department found when they went to evict somebody from their mobile home in March. Custer Health gave the park owners about a month to figure out if they were going to clean it up or tear it down. Daniela Hurtado is out at Gateway Mobile Home Community in Mandan now. Daniela, what's the verdict?
Molly, good afternoon. As you can see behind me, they clearly decided to go against cleaning it. The park owners tell me that the restoration and cleaning bid was for well over $38,000. So hauling it to the landfill, they say, was the better and cleaner option. Now, contractors have been here since yesterday trying to split the mobile home in half to be able to move it to the landfill. Some neighbors are happy the eyesore will be gone. Others say it's a double-edged sword.
That trailer has been here too since almost as long as I've been here, so it's kind of sad to see it go, but it is nice with the mess that they have in there, and I know it's not going to be livable for anybody else ever again.
The woman has not been charged with anything yet, and the sheriff's department tells us that she was allowed to leave with her 2 dogs and some of her cats to her relative's home. We'll have more on this and how the cleanup is going at 6. Tune in. Reporting live from Mandan for NBC North Dakota News, I'm Daniela Hurtado.
Kevin, those crews were working in some wet weather today.
Yes, they were. We had some rain showers and even some ice pellets. Molly, a warming trend just in time for Mother's Day. I've got that forecast later.
That's good news, Kevin. Thank you.
You bet.
Well, North Dakota is known for agriculture. We lead the nation in production of 11 crops. It's also the only state with a state-run bank. John Sowling is here to explain why that's important.
With 14 consecutive years of record profits, the Bank of North Dakota is causing others to consider a similar venture.
This is no ordinary bank. Founded in 1919 by the Nonpartisan League, North Dakota State Bank was initially built to protect farmers.
North Dakotans were being taken advantage of by the big, banks from out east, from Chicago, New York, Minneapolis, as well as, the big grain traders in Minneapolis and Chicago. So they felt that we were not, in charge of our own destiny at the time.
According to a former president of the bank, Senator John Hoeven, the bank plays a different role today.
It's really North Dakota's economic development bank, and what they do is they work with the private financial institutions to provide funding to help entrepreneurs, help our farmers and ranchers, help students with tuition.
Student loans are another reason the bank has been so valuable to the state. It offered the first federally insured student loan in the country.
That is why we exist. We have a mission to make North Dakota better.
The bank is the only one of its kind in the country, but that may soon change.
Just got off the phone with the treasurer from Rhode Island and have spoke to people in Washington, California, Oregon. This is an idea that now has become kind of a national topic. And so, whether we continue to be the only state-owned bank, we'll see.
In 2017, the Bank of North Dakota had an income of more than $145 million and a loan portfolio totaling about $4.9 billion.
2019 will be the Bank of North Dakota's 100th year. A book will be published about the bank's history to celebrate the centennial.
All right, thank you, John. Speaking of banks, here at KFYR, we always get comments on our Facebook page from viewers asking why there are so many banks in the Bisman area. As we speak, 3 new banks are under construction. Rick Clayberg, the president and CEO of the North Dakota Bankers Association, says banks are the engine of the economy and a community cornerstone.
So when a bank looks at a potential community, for example, Bismarck, they'll look to the customer base they already have and the opportunity to come into the community and look for growth of their institution.
Coming up at 6, we'll tell you what's driving customers into brick and mortar banks instead of banking online. And an ongoing saga in Minot. A district judge just dismissed a case against the city filed by a recycling plant. According to court records, Judge Douglas Mattson decided to drop the case. Earth Recycling, which was destroyed in this fire a year ago this month, argued the city was holding the plant to the wrong zoning ordinance. 2 months after the fire, the city had issued a cease and desist order, arguing that it was not in compliance with the updated ordinance. The plant contended that it should have been grandfathered into the law when it opened several years prior. The Williams County Sheriff's Office is asking all residents to be on high alert after an attempted break-in. The incident happening on May 4th. Police say the suspects tried to forcibly enter a home off Highway 85. By the time officials arrived, they sped off.
There was a vehicle that was recovered from that location that was a stolen motor vehicle. Investigations is still working on getting some suspect information put together. I think they have some individuals in mind, but it is an ongoing investigation that they're going to continue to follow up on.
Officials say break-ins are pretty uncommon, but now that the weather is warmer, more windows are open. Well, the FDA says it's about to get a lot harder to get your hands on an EpiPen. The shortage is affecting the adult EpiPen supply, but generic and kids' pens are still available. The generic version contains the same life-saving drugs as the brand name, but they may look a little different.
If you do get a generic, you should make sure that you understand how to use the pen before you need to use it in an emergency situation. And either your doctor or your pharmacist can help you with the new pen to make sure that you know how to use it properly.
Vadnais also says in situations like this, a full recovery usually happens in a couple months. Well, high prices for prescription drugs are the target for Capitol Hill Democrats, who are demanding tough action from President Trump when he outlines his plan tomorrow. The Dems want the president to lower drugs costs by allowing Medicare to negotiate prices. They say on the campaign trail, Donald Trump claimed the pharmaceutical company was, quote, getting away with murder, but now he's twice delayed taking any action. Also on the health front, many cancer doctors apparently recommend the use of medical marijuana to their patients without knowing much about it. Researchers from Dana-Farber Cancer Institute surveyed a group of oncologists. 80% said they discussed medical marijuana with their patients, and nearly half recommended it. But less than 30% felt informed enough to make such recommendations. Experts say more research is needed about the potential benefits of medical marijuana for cancer patients. A major U.S. city is banning the sales of bump stocks. The Cincinnati City Council voted to end the sale of the attachments that turn semi-automatic rifles into automatic weapons. Critics say the legislation opens up the city to potential lawsuits as the city already faces a major deficit. Crews in D.C. are battling a warehouse fire for the second day. The fire started Wednesday afternoon, eventually causing the roof to collapse. Firefighters said the warehouse belonged to a home building company. Officials say several cars owned by USPS employees were parked on top when the roof collapsed. A raging Texas pallet fire is still smoldering. Here's a look at the aftermath. Police say a large pile of wooden pallets caught fire yesterday. No injuries were reported. Firefighters say low water pressure hampered their efforts. The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating a deadly crash involving a Tesla. 2 teens were killed as a result. This is in Fort Lauderdale. A third teen was injured. The 2014 Tesla was reportedly speeding when it struck a wall and caught fire. The NTSB does not, at this time, anticipate autopilot being a part of the investigation. Also in automotive news, Ford announcing it's stopping all productions of its most profitable and best-selling vehicle, the F-150 pickup series. The suspension comes after a fire crippled a supply plant that makes key components for the pickups. The F-150 accounted for more than a quarter of Ford sales last year. Thousands of workers will be temporarily laid off due to the shutdown. Ford believes the impact of the disruption will be short-term and is working with the supplier to shift production elsewhere. Well, first lava, now people fear shooting boulders from Hawaii's Kilauea volcano. Since these eruptions began, 15 fissures emerged, 36 structures have been destroyed, and lava is coating more than 116 acres. Mary Maloney has more on the volcanic activity.
Thick plumes of smoke filled the air.
It was amazing and uneasy at the same time because you didn't know like what was going to happen.
Seething from the mouth of Hawaii's Kilauea volcano, hazardous fumes.
What it was a big ash cloud. As the lava lake has receded deep into the crater, the rocks in the steep crater walls are falling into that, and that's creating little gas explosions, and that's what created that real tall billowing cloud.
At one crack inside Leilani Estates, the temperature reads 218 degrees. The U.S. Geological Survey warns of possible volcanic explosions, prompting national parks to close and airspace to be restricted.
We could get into a situation where the water from the groundwater below the water table could mix in with the magma, and then we would have these steam-driven explosions. So larger fragments can be blown out and greater distances.
Meaning higher ash clouds and rocks weighing up to several tons can be shot up into the air.
It's just a really traumatic situation. A lot of uncertainty, really unfolding minute by minute. We don't know what to expect.
The volcano forced hundreds of people out of their homes as lava has swallowed streets, cars, and houses.
It's an emotional roller coaster. It's up and down.
Many left to wonder when the destruction and the legendary goddess of fire will subside.
Because we don't know. It could be 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 days. We don't know. Pele is not done with us.
I'm Mary Maloney reporting.
All right, well, from some extreme weather to some mild rain and possibly a cool down. Kevin, what are we looking at? All right, windows open or closed tonight, Kevin?
Tonight, depends. I like it a little cooler, so maybe open for a couple of hours, then close them.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Up next on First News at 5, an epidemic worry from 2014 is back with a major concern over a new cluster of Ebola outbreaks. The government of the Democratic Republic of Congo has declared a new Ebola outbreak. The country's health ministry says there are 2 confirmed cases of the virus and at least 17 deaths. In 2014, more than 11,000 people were killed in Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Liberia. Well, Consumer Reports is out with its annual review of the best sunscreens, and once again, you don't have to pay a ton to get good coverage. Of the top 5, under 10 include Walmart's Equate brand sport lotion, Bullfrog Land Sport Quick Gel, and Classic Copper Tone Water Babies. All of those are SPF 50, no matter what you use. Dermatologists say reapply sunblock every 2 hours when you're outside, and more often if you get your skin wet.